Have you ever found yourself just nodding along in a conversation, smiling and pretending you understood what was just said, simply because asking someone to repeat themselves for the third time just feels way too exhausting? Or maybe you're dealing with that constant, isolating, high-pitched ringing in your ears that makes falling asleep at night feel like an absolute nightmare. Look, the daily frustration of ringing ears and muffled conversations isn't just an annoyance. It is something that slowly and quietly chips away at your connection to the people around you. It's incredibly isolating. In this video, we are going to take a deep, completely BS-free dive into a product called Audifort. We aren't here for the marketing hype. We are going to look strictly at the science, the biological mechanisms at play, the specific ingredient profile, and, most importantly, the very real limitations of this supplement. By the end of this, you are going to know exactly whether this formula actually has the potential to work for your specific situation, or if it is something you should just pass on entirely.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is how we are going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the auditory problem itself. Then we'll cover exactly what Audifort is, followed by the biological mechanism behind it. From there, we'll jump into a deep dive of the ingredients, lay out the pros, cons, and some very realistic expectations, and finally, I'll give you my final verdict. And just a quick note right up front, if at any point you decide this product is the right fit for you, the only safe place to purchase it is through the official website, which I have linked directly in the description below. We are going to get into exactly why that matters so much a little later on, so stick around for that.
Section 1. The auditory problem. Let's talk about the hidden causes of hearing decline.
To truly understand if any supplement can actually help you, we first have to take a step back and look at the biology of what is going wrong in the first place. Based on our research, the gradual decline of your hearing or the sudden onset of persistent tinnitus rarely just happens overnight out of nowhere. It is almost always the cumulative result of underlying physiological stressors. We are talking specifically about oxidative stress, chronic cellular inflammation, and disrupted neural communication between your ear and your brain. You see, when the delicate little hair cells inside your inner ear are constantly bombarded by things like environmental noise, toxins, and just the natural aging process, they become physically damaged. This creates a state of internal stress that disrupts how sound waves are translated into the electrical signals your brain can actually understand. So this brings up a really critical question. Why does so many previous hearing solutions you might have tried fail to bring you any lasting relief? Well, it's because typical temporary fixes actually fail by design. Over-the-counter eardrops or standard generic vitamins usually only mask those surface-level symptoms instead of getting down to that root physiological deterioration deep within the inner ear and the neural pathways. To get real support, you have to address the cellular environment of the ear itself.
Section 2. What exactly is Audifort? Moving beyond the marketing claims.
So in plain terms, Audifort is a natural plant-based dietary supplement that was designed specifically for auditory wellness. But what makes it immediately different from the vast majority of supplements out there is that it does not come in a standard capsule. It is formulated as a liquid drop, which you take in a 1 milliliter serving. The intention behind this liquid format is to provide a non-habit-forming formula that completely bypasses the harsh digestive process your body has to go through to break down a hard gelatin capsule. This sublingual delivery, meaning under the tongue, is designed to allow for much faster and more efficient absorption into your system. Based on our research, the formula consists of a highly concentrated blend of over 20 plant-based ingredients, and it is produced right here in the United States. Now, the fact that it's made at an FDA-registered facility that is GMP certified, which stands for Good Manufacturing Practices, is actually really important. It means the facility is subjected to regular, strict inspections for cleanliness, quality control, and safety, ensuring that what is printed on the label is exactly what is inside the bottle, without any harmful contaminants. However, and I want to be perfectly clear here, it is vital to remember that these strict standards are a baseline for product safety. They mean the product is clean and safe to consume, but they're absolutely not a guarantee of a cure.
Section 3. The biological mechanism. Let's look at how this formula actually works inside the body. If you are going to put a supplement into your body every single day, you deserve to know exactly what it is trying to do on a cellular level. Right off the bat, Audifort does not function like a hearing aid. It isn't mechanically amplifying sound. Instead, it aims to slowly change the biological environment of your auditory system through a very specific three-step process. Step 1 is enhancing inner ear circulation. Your inner ear relies heavily on robust microcirculation. It has these tiny capillaries, and when blood flow is restricted, those delicate ear cells literally begin to starve for oxygen and nutrients. Step 2 is combating oxidative stress and inflammation. By flooding the system with targeted antioxidants, the formula attempts to neutralize rogue free radicals, which essentially allows the inflamed tissue inside your ear to finally rest and repair. Finally, step 3 is supporting neural communication. What the evidence suggests is that chronic inflammation can severely disrupt vital gap junction proteins in the ear. By targeting this specific neural disruption, the formula theoretically smooths out the transmission of sound signals from the ear to the brain. You know, it's actually kind of wild to think about, but tinnitus is often just your brain turning up its own internal volume because it's starving for clear external signals. This formula is trying to reestablish that clear signal.
Section 4, the ingredients deep dive. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we get to see exactly what is doing the heavy lifting in the formula.
Let's break down the foundational group of ingredients first, focusing specifically on circulation and antioxidant support. When looking at the clinical research, Ginkgo biloba stands out incredibly well for its natural ability to boost both cerebral and peripheral blood flow. Since the cochlea is so highly dependent on a constant supply of oxygenated blood, including Ginkgo is a very logical, evidence-based step. Next up is grape seed extract. Research shows this is highly effective at protecting cochlear cells from ongoing oxidative damage, acting almost like a biological shield for your inner ear. Then we have green tea, which provides a further layer of antioxidant protection and is known to support healthy blood vessels over time. Finally, we have turmeric, which is famous for its active compound curcumin. Curcumin is a well-proven potent anti-inflammatory that helps ease the physical swelling in those delicate auditory pathways. When the swelling goes down, sound signals can pass through with significantly less physical obstruction.
Now, the second group of ingredients shifts the focus away from the physical mechanics of the ear and targets the brain and nervous system directly. We start with GABA, which is a primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. Its main job in the body is to calm an overactive nervous system and reduce stress. This is absolutely crucial because the anxiety and panic caused by constant tinnitus often make the physical perception of the ringing feel much, much worse. Next is maca root, which acts as an adaptogen that helps combat the mental fatigue and exhaustion that comes from constantly struggling to hear conversations. Then we have alpha-GPC. This is a strong nootropic compound that elevates acetylcholine levels in the brain, essentially helping your cognitive centers interpret mixed sound signals more effectively. Finally, L-arginine is included to boost nitric oxide production, which further aids in vascular health and blood flow. The overarching narrative of this formula is very clear. These ingredients aren't just trying to mechanically fix the ear. They are specifically targeting the brain fog, the exhaustion, and the profound neural stress that always accompanies hearing loss.
But, as always, we need to separate the reality of the product from the flashy marketing. You will very often see companies claim that their specific formula is quote-unquote scientifically proven, but as we found in our research, and as this quote on the screen really highlights perfectly, the scientific evidence supporting Audifort as a complete, exact formula is difficult to verify independently. Why is that? Well, it's because the manufacturer uses what's called a proprietary blend. This means that while they tell us exactly which ingredients are inside the bottle, they intentionally hide the exact milligram dosage of each individual component. Now, on the positive side, utilizing that liquid drop format is a massive advantage over standard competitors because of the superior absorption rate. But in my assessment, the heavy reliance on a proprietary blend that masks those individual clinical doses is a legitimate, undeniable negative. We know the right evidence-based ingredients are in there, but we are essentially forced to trust the manufacturer's internal ratios.
Section 5. Pros, Cons, and Expectations. It's time for a grounded reality check.
Let's strip away all the marketing hype right now and look at exactly what you should expect, because setting the right expectations going in is absolutely crucial for your success. Let me be clear, this is not an instant cure. If you are expecting to take a few drops under your tongue and have your tinnitus just magically vanish overnight, you are going to be deeply, deeply disappointed. During weeks 1 through 4, your biological system is simply beginning to absorb and accumulate these nutrients. You might notice some slight improvements in your daily energy levels, but major auditory changes are highly unlikely that early on. Moving into months 2 and 3, this is where users typically report a potential reduction in overall neural stress. The ringing might seem a bit less intrusive as those anti-inflammatory agents really begin to do their work. Finally, months 3 to 6 are where the real long-term auditory support takes hold. Look, it takes considerable, uninterrupted time for real cellular repair to fully manifest in the body. Let's look at an honest, balanced breakdown of this product. Starting with the pros, the formula is entirely natural and plant-based, which significantly minimizes the risks of harsh side effects. The liquid drop format is incredibly easy to use and absorbs much better than those chalky, hard capsules.
The manufacturing is done right here in the US in a strictly GMP-certified facility, and perhaps most importantly, it uniquely addresses both the physical hearing elements and the cognitive focus required to process sound. Now, slowly evaluating the cons, because you need to know these. This product definitely sits at a premium price point. It is not cheap. As we already discussed, the exact ingredient dosages are hidden behind a proprietary blend label. Achieving any real, noticeable results takes considerable time and requires strict, daily compliance on your part. And lastly, there is a dangerously high risk of counterfeit versions being sold online right now.
So, with all that being said, who is this actually for? Based on our research, Audifort is highly suitable for adults, particularly those over the age of 35, who are actively experiencing mild to moderate age-related hearing decline, general noise sensitivity, or ongoing tinnitus. It is really designed for people who are looking for a natural, preventative, and supportive approach to their auditory health. However, it is absolutely not for children under 18, it is not for pregnant women, and it is not for individuals with severe, profound structural damage to their ears. If you have a diagnosed medical condition, you should always consult your primary care doctor before starting any new supplement. And let me say this clearly, this is absolutely not a substitute for prescribed medical hearing aids.
This brings us to what we call the consistency factor, because the biological science shows us that it takes roughly 3 to 6 months for your body to naturally reduce cellular inflammation and begin rebuilding those neural pathways. Uninterrupted daily supplementation is a biological requirement. Stopping and starting the drops completely negates the cumulative benefits. Therefore, when you are looking at the different purchasing packages, logically, based on that specific biological timeline, opting for the 6-month supply is functionally the most sensible route. It prevents you from accidentally running out and interrupting your cycle right at the critical moment when the nutrients are finally accumulating in your system. Plus, it usually offers the steepest discount, making it the best overall value for a long-term commitment.
Now, I need you to listen to this part very carefully, because this is an urgent warning. One of the most alarming things we found while researching the supplement category is the counterfeit trap. Because Audifort has become so popular, the market is currently flooded with dangerous, fake versions on third-party platforms like Amazon, eBay, and various discount supplement sites. Shady resellers will literally copy the official bottle designs, but the liquid inside is completely unregulated. These fakes often contain cheap fillers, the wrong ingredients entirely, and in some documented cases in this industry, they can even be contaminated with harmful bacteria or heavy metals. Buying from third-party sellers is a severe health risk. You just do not know what you are putting into your body. The absolute only way to guarantee you are getting the authentic, safe, tested formula is to order directly from the official manufacturer's website.
Section 6. The final verdict. Let's bring this all together.
So the crucial point is Audifort actually worth your time and money? In my assessment, it represents a very scientifically grounded, natural approach to supporting long-term auditory health. It relies on the very real mechanisms of improving blood flow and calming the nervous system using highly regarded, evidence-based ingredients. While the use of a proprietary blend is a valid and frustrating critique, the overall safety profile, the superior liquid absorption rate, and the strict U.S. manufacturing standards make it a highly credible option. Look, if you expect a miracle cure in 3 days, save your money and walk away right now. But if you are willing to commit to a simple daily routine for several months to give your body the tools it needs, it is a solid investment in your well-being. Furthermore, the company backs the product with a full 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee. This essentially allows you to evaluate the drops completely risk-free for 3 full months, provided, of course, you make your purchase authentically.
To make sure you stay safe from those dangerous counterfeits we talked about, I've placed the link to the verified official site in the description below. That link takes you directly to the manufacturer, not a reseller, not a third-party listing. It ensures you get the real formula and that your purchase is fully protected by their 90-day refund policy. But ultimately, you have to ask yourself a question today. Are you going to continue letting the noise and the muffled conversations isolate you from the people and the world you love? Or are you ready to finally change the biological environment inside your ear and take a real step toward reclaiming your quiet? Thanks for watching and take care of yourself.